All right, guys, it is Super Bowl 58 time. I'm Tom Barton from TomBartonSports.com. Go check me out at TomBartonSports.com. Make sure if you like this video, please hit the like, hit the subscribe, do all the stuff that you would do to make sure that people are getting out there and liking Tom Barton Sports and the videos. Look, guys, it's Super Bowl 58 time. Everyone's pumped up. I wanted to give you guys kind of an insight as to what I do when it comes down to the Super Bowl and what I kind of am leaning for this week. I'm telling you, the Super Bowl is always so fantastic. But in recent years, for those that are not as old as I am, in recent years, it's gotten so much better. It used to be blowout city. We were used to 50 plus to, in the teens. It was over by the half. And that's really when people were just talking about commercials. And you start to look at the last decade or so, and it's real tight games. The last two Super Bowls have been decided by, we'll call them holding calls, depending on what side of the spectrum you're on that field, if you agreed with it or not. So we are looking at a 2-point spread for this game, and I think it's going to be another classic, really good game. The NFL has been producing really great Super Bowls now for a little while, and I think we are going to get another one on our side. When you're talking about sports betting and everybody wants to know, what about Vegas? What do you like? What's the game? Look, this is very simple. Forget about the spread, right? Do you like San Francisco or do you like Kansas City? A lot of people, a lot of the tickets are coming in. That means a lot of people. Everybody's going up to the board and saying, I want Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is 9-1-1 in his last 10 games as an underdog. He doesn't lose as an underdog. It's the Super Bowl. Here we go. He's going to step up. But a lot of the big money, and we'll call them sharps, even though I hate that word, are going in on San Francisco. I think this is more of a matter of not Patrick Mahomes getting the points. And I think it's more of a matter of style. Stylistic, how do you think that this game is going to run? So let me get into what I like. And when you're talking about a stylistic approach here, I'm going with San Francisco running the ball and keeping the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands. Now, you could say easier said than done because Kansas City does have a really good defense. As a matter of fact, Kansas City went every single game this year allowing 28 or less points. Now, because they had an extra game, they are the only team to ever do that, which is an NFL record. The three other teams that held every team going into the Super Bowl to 28 or less points, well, they're all Super Bowl winners. So you look at that and you go, yeah, Kansas City's defense is going to be on top of this. But the one area that they absolutely can be taken advantage of is against the run. And Christian McCaffrey now takes on a bottom third rushing defense. That's where they have to attack. Look, Kyle Shanahan's been in 2 Super Bowls, and after both Super Bowls, once against Kansas City just a couple of years ago, he was bashed and ridiculed through the media because he abandoned the run early. After that, what did he do? I want Christian McCaffrey. He went out and got Christian McCaffrey of all people, right? Christian McCaffrey was second in the league in carries this year and first in just about everything else. He's the best offensive player outside of a quarterback in the entire NFL. I don't think that Shanahan is going to make his mistake 3 times in a row. This is going to be the Christian McCaffrey show, at least volume-wise. And if you're running the ball a lot and having some success against Kansas City's weaker running defense than any other area, you're also keeping Patrick Mahomes off the field. Look at the last couple of games that Mahomes has played in. Limited possessions, they're running the ball as well. Isaiah Pacheco has really hit that extra level. And while you look at San Francisco and you go, they have really the top passing defense. I know Mahomes can pass on anybody, but why wouldn't you take advantage of their rushing defense as well? We saw some problems in that area. We watched, a couple of guys really have big playoff games against them in this spot. So I think that Pacheco is the focus. Of course, it's going to be Mahomes and Kelsey, and they're going to get their yards. But Pacheco is going to be the focus. I think Andrew Reid wants to establish the run as well. So you have 2 teams wanting to establish the run, limited possessions, which brings us to the total of what is now 48, although a lot of people are going on the over. I tend to lean the under here. I think that is going to be an effective running game. You'll get some pop plays. You'll get some mistakes. You'll get some things where there are big plays. But the general consensus here, speaking to anybody that has associated with either one of these teams, speaking to everybody that understands the X's and O's in the game, is that this is going to be a run-first approach. And if it's a run-first approach, usually that tends to be an under game unless you see McCaffrey break big yardage and Pacheco break big yardage. And even in that case, I still think they want to slow the ball down and slow the game down. On San Francisco side, you also kind of want to keep the ball out of Brock Purdy's hands. Look, Purdy has been very good, and Purdy was MVP elite for a lot of this, but do you want Purdy to decide this game, or do you want Christian McCaffrey, like I said, the offensive player of the year, the best player in football that's not a quarterback? In the same respect, you also have to look at this and you say, well, what is our best opportunity, even if I did like Purdy, to keep Mahomes off the field? Just don't let him have the ball late with a chance to win. So that's why I'm leaning that. As far as if you're looking for a really under-the-radar kind of total situation, nobody's really talking about this, and it's an alarming stat as far as, hey, this makes sense. 24.5 points is the total in the second half, and you can bet this before the game goes off. 24.5 points in the second half. I'm going under here. 18-2 the Chiefs were in their 20 games to the under here. The Chiefs allowed just about a touchdown in the second half of games, and they scored just about a touchdown in the second half of games. Once again, you're either going to have two things. You're going to have a blowout, right? One team's up, and then they're going to sit on the ball, or it's a close game, and neither team wants to make that mistake. Now, I mentioned my idea with Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy trying to keep the ball somewhat out of his hands. You don't want him to make that big mistake. I like the under. 31.5 passing attempts. If you get it at 32, and I saw 32 out there, jump on that. But under 31.5 passing attempts, guys, look, he only went over 32 or more 3 times all year long. I don't think that this is the game where he's going to be flinging it all over the field. Do you think that Kyle Shanahan's going to want his rookie, Mr. Irrelevant, young quarterback to be throwing? I know how good he was, but you don't want that. You want a different game plan. I like the under 31.5 as well. I also like San Francisco team total rushing yards over 134.5. You get that at plus money, plus 120 in some spots. Look, I think McCaffrey has a big game, obviously. I've been talking about that. But I also think Deebo Samuel can have a game. I think he can rush for 30, 40 yards or so. And then you have Brock Purdy. Can he give you anything? Can he give you 10, 15, 20 yards? All of a sudden, that 134 looks like a gift. You might also want to lean to Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes usually gets about 25, 26, maybe 30 yards rushing, and their team total rushing yards is only 104. So if you think Pacheco could have some success, that makes sense as well. But I like the San Francisco play a little bit more. A favorite play of mine, the last time these two teams met up. I'm a Harvard guy. You can see the flag behind me. I love Kyle Juszczyk at Harvard. He was fantastic. And I took Kyle Juszczyk to score a touchdown at double digits to 1 odds, and I loved when he did it. I'm not going to take him again, not for a touchdown. But his over-under for receptions is 1. It's a half. You need 1 reception. 3.5 yards, but you need 1 reception. He's going to catch 1 ball. I think Juszczyk out of the backfield with the pass rush that Chris Jones and them bring. Juszczyk out of the backfield, a little dump-off pass. That's all you need is 1. That's all you need is 1. I like that as well. What about Travis Kelce? Everybody loves Kelce. Everybody loves the over, and I love unders. I usually take unders. Look, it's hard to go against Kelce in this spot. The last time he was held to 71 less yards in a postseason game was actually against San Francisco. He's got 12 straight playoff games where he's beaten this number, which is 70 yards receiving. In fact, in 5 of those games, he's gone to 100. In 9 of those 12 games, he's got 95 plus. So maybe if you want to try the alt line in that spot as well, that could be worth it. You look at the MVP, and I've been asked about the MVP. I was invited on a show this week and asked about the MVP, and I said, I don't really like to bet the MVP because it generally is quarterback all the time. But if you're going to bet the MVP, I'm going to go right back to the well and say Christian McCaffrey at 5-1 odds makes a lot of sense. It's a voting award. It's an award that these guys want to go out there and give credit to somebody that's fantastic. And they love Christian McCaffrey because he's not going to win the MVP. It always goes to kind of the quarterback, Lamar Jackson and whatnot, the regular MVP. But his value is there. And in the MVP for the Super Bowl, it's going to be an emotional pick. I think they want to lean Brock Purdy, but the game plan will say Christian McCaffrey, and they have no problem doing that. If you get 5-1 odds back, hey, why not take a shot? Now, you guys know I like defensive props. If you followed me, if you follow my show, defensive props are everything that I love to do. TomBartonSports.com. I made a fortune this year on defensive props. I don't see any that really jump off the page. Look, you go to Warner over 8.5, which makes a little bit of sense. And Nick Bolton, look, I was riding the Nick Bolton train. He had 13, 10, and 11 tackles going into the last playoff game and then just disappeared. Again, I think it's a run-heavy attack. If you want to take something Nick Bolton to get over 9 tackles, that makes a little bit of sense as well. So you have a couple of those guys. One last note, the kicking game I'm staying away from. San Francisco doesn't trust their kicker, and I don't know if Kansas City is going to be necessarily in a spot to go out there and say, yeah, I want to kick a field goal. But if you're going to do something with the field goal kickers, hey, how about the longest field goal, right? They might take a shot right before the half. Maybe, look, it's an indoor game. It's a dome game. So maybe it's extended a little bit more. And the elevation, by the way, this is the highest elevation that both of these teams will play this year. Outside of them going to Denver and Kansas City, yeah, I mean, the elevation helps. Nobody thinks about Vegas as an elevation game, but the thin air in a dome, maybe the longest field goal if you're looking for something like that. So everybody go out there and enjoy the Super Bowl. By the way, the fun Super Bowl prop bets, I usually bet on Gatorade, not doing it this year. Reba to go over. Yeah, the Star Spangled Banner. Why not? Take a shot at that. And if you guys could find this one, I don't know. I'm not saying where it is, but I heard it was out there. How many times will Taylor Swift be shown on TV? Over, under 5? I love the over. I think I might go double on that one. For all you Swifties out there, that would be my pick. All right, guys, enjoy the Super Bowl. It's going to be a good one. I think we're going to get a classic on our hands. We're going to even be talking about a dynasty in Kansas City, or, hey, Kyle Shanahan, Christian McCaffrey, Brock Purdy. What a story that is. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Be safe. I'm Tom Barton from TomBartonSports.com. Please like and share this video. Have a very good day, everybody.